How can you identify what it is you see when you're your backyard naturalist? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the North Woods. I just got back from camping, and I tell you what, I used electronic tools all along the way when I went camping, and I thought I would share them with you. There are some fantastic ways to help you as you're learning about birds, bugs, nature, trees, whatever it is. And I use them heavily when I was camping. For example, when I was working on my tent, I saw a big pile of leaves sitting right there. Was that poison ivy? Mm. So I checked it out, and I'll tell you some of the tools I used in order to know. Sometimes they're happy leaves, like pretty flowers, and sometimes they're poison ivy. But the apps I used helped me understand where it's at. And I'll tell you another story. There was one time my friend and I were out, and she loves to zap plants with this app to see what it is we're looking at. And we saw along this path a whole big pile of poison ivy. And when we were looking where we had just been, there was a young family there, and the kid was just sort of wandering around, near the parents, and started to reach out to grab the plants we just identified as poison ivy. My friend runs over there and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, your kid's about to touch poison ivy." And she's like, "Oh, thank you. I didn't know what that was." So we helped them and showed them which app to use. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I love using technology to help me with nature. I enjoy being present too. I have problems with it because I am always engrossed in all of my different technologies and apps. But part of it is I like to know what I'm seeing, and I like to know that I'm seeing something new. And that's what we'll talk about. The first app is a little bit more of a slow roll. So this one is called iNaturalist. This one, the reason I call it slow roll is that you join this app, you will post pictures of what it is you have seen. So I had a Ring camera of some critter out there I couldn't identify. It was boinging in a really weird way. And it turns out coyote. Coyotes boing. Someone knew that. And so what you do is you upload your picture, your video to this app or to the website. They also have a really good website. And people will crowdsource the information, take a look at what you uploaded and help you identify it. They will have an expert come in and then settle the case. Say, okay, I listened to what everyone was saying it is. This is what it is. And then they'll give you the Latin name, and so you can look it up and find out more information. The app for iNaturalist and the website syncs across all the devices, regardless of what you're using, and even will see ranges, images. There's certain project tracking up there. Like in my area, we have a canid tracking in my urban area. And so they like to know when they see coyotes and foxes around there. The other fun thing is that you can go to iNaturalist website and app and see what other people are seeing, not only just in your area, but all over the world. I have seen wild bugs and birds and everything. It is for science. It is the ultimate citizen science kind of app. And so you're part of a real ecological data set. Scientists use this information, try to understand the distribution, the migration, environment changes. And so people can actually see what it is. iNaturalist was started back in 2008. And in 2014, it joined the California Academy of Sciences and now partners with organizations like the Canadian Wildlife Federation, Swedish Species Information, and all sorts of different groups, Mi Ambiente in Central America. And what iNaturalist is not a place for you to store your photos or a diary of everything you've seen before, but instead it is a place for you to document living things, so not rocks, and collaborate with other people who help you to verify, label whatever it is you're seeing. And like I said, it's a massive, searchable global map of all the diversity around us when it comes to biological critters out there. They will also ask you questions if you get there. Is this organism live or dead? What stage? Was it egg, juvenile, or adult? Can you tell the sex of the critter? And did it have a tag? Did it behave in a certain way? Did it pump its tail? Sometimes with birds, you can tell that. And these details will help people do it. The other app, which is kind of, I think, a little bit more fun, It is a more kid-friendly type of app, but I'll tell you something else. It's also instantaneous identification for most things, because most things that you see out there in nature are easily identifiable. It's when you get the rare bird, the weird thing, that kind of thing. So the Seek app is made by iNaturalist. It doesn't require an account for you to log into, and it can identify things on the fly. So you open up the app, you agree that you're not gonna eat whatever it is you see, which is kind of annoying, but I get it, and then you hover your camera over it, and when it feels like it has a solid picture of it, you'll snap the picture of it, and it'll tell you what it is. Now, sometimes it goes basically from the Latin, it'll say dicot for a plant, meaning plant, and then it'll say, "Oh, this is a dogwood." And then as it gains more and more information, then it'll say that it is this kind of dogwood. I think I had a gray dogwood when I was camping this last week, but it will help identify it for you. It's perfect for kids and classrooms and beginners. I love it. I'm not a beginner or any of those things. So what's nice is that you don't need an account, like I said. You don't have to give it your location. It offers instant identification with your camera, and it has fun badges and challenges. My friend is out there playing Pokemon with every weed in every state park in this area. She goes out and she goes, "Woohoo, a new dogwood." She's very excited about it. So it's all these badges and challenges, and it's almost like a scavenger hunt in your phone. And it helps figure out what it is. It'll do bugs, it'll do plants, it'll do anything that it can get a clear picture of. That's the thing. So sometimes bees and bugs can get a little like, "Ooh, I'm flying around." And so sometimes that becomes a little harder, and all you get is a blurry shot. But the simple interface, very few choices, um, means that you don't have to know a lot about photography to get a good shot out of this. So it is really easy to play with this. And my friend, like I said, loves this app. It is free, just like iNaturalist is free, and it's just fun for you to use. And like I said, you can identify all sorts of things. It's not just the plants. And some people say, and I hear ya, stay present, look around, don't have your face in your camera or your phone all the time. But I have to tell you, I love knowing it. I saw this one weird vine taking over a field. Turns out it was wild grapes. I also saw strawberries growing in my backyard. You know why? Because once I chucked strawberries out my deck, thinking they were kind of getting too mushy, and I thought I'd give them to the rabbits to eat. They planted in my yard, but I was able with the Seek app to determine I had strawberries in my backyard. So seeing it everywhere, that's really what it is. Makes you familiar with nature and you start getting good at it. Now I can tell the difference when I'm walking in these paths. We have some sort of invasive honeysuckle. I can now tell the difference between the good honeysuckle and the invasive one. Or, like I said, knowing when you have poison ivy sitting right next to your tent. It's really fun, and I've enjoyed it. When I saw the lady slipper with my brother, we used the Seek app and we're able to determine what it is. The other apps that I really liked, those are two of them, is there are two specific bird apps I like to do. And like I said, I do a majority of my investigation birding, but one of them is called Birds Near Me. It is only available on iOS. It uses the Cornell bird data, which is what, if you're keeping a bird list on the ebird.org website, it will use that same data. And so you can actually see for your location what other people are seeing. This is great for beginners because chances are you're seeing what other people are seeing. So you see a rare bird and then you say, "Oh, wait a minute, it kinda looks like a scarlet tanager. I bet you that's what I'm seeing." Chances are you're seeing things that are similar. Now, sometimes you are seeing the rare bird, but oftentimes you see what other people see, and so it helps you identify it or know that it's in your area. So I try to change the time frame on the app to the last 5 days. So I change the app to about so I try to take the app and then I change it to be, like, within 2 or 3 miles of my area and within the last 5 days. That's the important part because it may be that people are seeing what you're seeing. So maybe you see a swan and you say, "Is this a tundra swan or is this a trumpeter swan?" Oh, no one has seen a trumpeter swan here yet. So it will help you on identifying what it is you are seeing. That is one great app. The other app that I like is Merlin, and it is from the Cornell eBird group. It will do identification via photo so that you can put a photo in it. It will do identification based on, well, where did you see the bird? It'll go through like this list of questions and it'll say, what color was the bird? The bird was red. Was it on the ground or was it in the tree? Oh, it was on the ground. And what size was it? Was this size or that size? Oh, you saw a cardinal. So it'll help you round down what it is you may have seen. Now, this is the thing that people always use Merlin for, and it's kind of controversial. I don't find it controversial, but sometimes people do. Is that you can take it out and let it listen, and it will hear the birds around you and give you a pretty solid. I mean, sometimes it gets it wrong. I remember some kids were squawking down the path for me on the hiking trail, and it thought they were a trumpeter swan. Gets it wrong at times. It can confuse certain kinds of birds. You'll see it get very common where it'll say, "Oh, you have this," and chances are it's a grosbeak because it gets them messed up. But 99% of the time, it's very accurate and tells you what you have. Now, here's where it gets controversial: is that people keep bird lists, right? I'm going to track down all the birds that I saw when I was out hiking, but they don't go look for the bird and they don't know that that's what they actually saw. So, for example, when I was camping, I had a Acadian flycatcher near my tent. So I could have just checked it off my list and said, there it is, an Acadian flycatcher. A couple of weeks ago, Em and I were at a hiking site and it said we had a common nighthawk. I have never seen a common nighthawk before. I have no idea what it looked like. And you know what? We went and we found it and we're like, okay, there it is. Because you want to make sure that's exactly what it is that you have for your bird, but you kind of want to see it too, right? So some people, they feel like it makes them lazy. For Em and I, we feel it challenges us. It makes us go looking for it. Oh, it heard a scarlet tanager. Let's go find it. And off we go, looking to see that we can find the bird. And honestly, we don't count the bird on our bird list unless we saw it with our own little eyes. We make sure that other people have seen that kind of bird in this area to make sure that we got it right. Sometimes the flycatchers and the vireos all sound very similar, so it could get messed up. Or it has a very distinctive call, and we listen to it, records on your phone what it heard, and you can listen back to it and say, yep, that's what I heard. I heard that bird. So I think that it makes us better. And what it helps for me, because M, she is really good at music. She's good at bird sounds. She's very good at the auditory. I'm better at the visuals, but it is teaching me to hear bird sounds because cheep, cheep, cheep. I look down, cheep, cheep, cheep. And I'm starting to pair them together in my brain. So even though I'm not very good at musical things and sound things, I'm getting better at this. And so it's because of Merlin, it is teaching me to be a better birder. I'm going to give you one more app out there and then I'll be done. There's an app out there called iBird.com. iBird is for profit. It's a developer who made a very large catalog of birds apps out there, and he charges money for it. So there's a small level of iBird. There's a Hawaiian version of iBird. I think there's a European version of iBird. I have the one, and at the time, I can't see what the price is because once you buy it, you can't see the price. It was $19.99, which was kind of a deal, but it is a great bird database. It shows you pictures, graphic, artist rendering, the songs that bird makes, its range, its behavior, where you can find it. And what's nice about it is most of it is downloaded to your phone. So if you're in the middle of the woods and the internet stinks wherever you're at, which happens to me all the time, I still can identify a bird. It has a companion app called iBird Photo Sleuth, which will also, like the Merlin app, let you upload a photo and it'll try to tell you what it is you have. So oftentimes I will run it both through Merlin and through the iBird app so that sometimes I have different opinions, maybe because the picture's fuzzy. And so I'm not quite sure one app will tell me the truth on it because the picture stunk, right? So anyway, those are 5 apps that I use. Like I said, the iBird app, a wealth of information stored on your phone. It's like having a a big book with you, but it will work when the internet's not. My challenge to you is go find yourself an app that helps you become a better naturalist. Some of them are free, some of them cost a little bit of money. Do what you need to do, but I hope that you get out there and you go find some new bugs, birds, all sorts of things. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. I appreciate you watching. Remember, I'm Jill from the North Woods. I enjoy getting outside and looking at nature. I hope you are too. I try to encourage everyone to get out and go to nature. A few weeks ago, there were some high school students who were supposed to go out into this preserve, go take photograph of animals and birds, and they looked bored. They looked like they hated it. And suddenly one of them came up to me and she goes, "Why are all these people standing there and looking at this tree?" And I said, "Oh, well, there is a hooded warbler in that tree. It's very rare for our area to see a hooded warbler." And she started getting interesting, and I started talking a little bit about where they come from and where they go. And suddenly there was a group of kids out there, and they were like, "Oh, look, there's the hooded warbler." I love getting people excited about nature. I hope you do too. Remember, you can always email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. If you have some cool pictures, feel free to email them to me. Or if you have questions about nature outside your back door, I'll try to find you an answer. Thanks so much and have a great week.